It's nice to know you have great guard dogs watching over your crocs. I guess after working so hard to guard my crocs all night, y'all deserve a little treat. Come on. Oh boy. He didn't just guard my crocs, he also watched your boots.
Yeah.
Good morning, Pablo. Hi, sweet Maggie. Give Pablo some water, Maggie. Pablo's thirsty. Let's go. It's 8 o'clock. Mom starts her Zoom calls. Come on, Pablo. You can't be in the house. Pablo. There we go. Well, good morning, folks. Lester here. I'm standing in the pasture over here beside our family cemetery, and I'm going to try to call the littles out of the pastures in here with me, hoping they'll walk around and do a little bit of foraging today. We are trying desperately to fill their bellies with Mother Nature's goodness instead of trying just to keep pouring the grains to them. You all know we've been on about a week-long mission to help them lose a little bit of weight. Parasites. We have parasites in our pastures. We're going to have to probably find a way to cleanse the pastures pretty soon. I'm worried about that. So we're going to have to get the babies used to making trips down to the woods or making trips around somewhere, trying to find foods to forage on. I know it's windy. You have to bear with me. I'm going to turn my camera around and call the babies out now. Come on, littles! Let's go! So as the littles make their way over here, come on, babies! I want you to all be aware of how we've cut our pastures back to 3 inches. Man, there is so much debate. People can't agree on... Babies, let's go! Come on, littles! Everyone is in debate about everything. And even though we love Google, we cannot use Google as our main source of information. Google is simply different people's opinions. You have to find trusted sources, and the source that we go with is our veterinarians. And they tell us that if you want to avoid parasites, you need to have your grass cut shorter. Parasites can live in large, tall, uncut grasses. Come on, babies, over here. I have the gate open over here. Now, what we don't want to have is the littles all come jump in the back of the side-by-side. Come on, babies, we're going to go for a walk. Come on, going for a walk. Let's go. Still missing a couple of pigs who like to go with us. Here comes, I think that's Pig Newton. Here comes Pig Newton. Come on, littles, let's go. This here is what I'm hoping you'll come and enjoy. All right, so my Aunt Joanne likes to keep this part of her driveway mowed. I normally do the cemetery side over here. Joanne mows up along here and of course around her new house. There we go. But what I'm hoping is that the littles can come out and kind of get used to a morning routine of just literally foraging around, getting their bellies full of this kind of stuff instead of waiting around the barn for someone to throw out some grains. Hey, Newt. She's like, wow, I can get used to this freedom. We have to be very careful over here. There are a lot of dogs across the street that we have to be on very high alert about. I have Maggie with me, but Maggie's not a lot of protection against a pack of dogs. It's cute because Annie knows where the danger comes from down along the road. I don't like her walking down that far, but I think that she has to stay ahead of the goats to be an early line of defense for just in case scenarios. So Pig Newton has actually gone right to where I would like him to go. That's that little tree line where Joanne stops mowing. And it's too close to the trees to go around. When Ed, our hay guy, comes, he'll cut all of the hay off the pasture. And then I'll come by with my lawnmower, which is a little bit stronger and bigger than Joanne's, and I'll trim up around all of her trees. And at that point, she can kind of keep it mowed a little bit better, but you would not want to take a small mower through anything like this. It's way too thick. It could burn your mower up. All right, so the goats seem to be doing pretty good. I wish they would not have eaten that particular tree right there. That's kind of part of our cemetery. The geese have come out also. You want to know what's weird though? Look at how some of the goats are actually still eating grass. So Pebbles over here is enjoying the freedom, but she's still eating on the grasses. And we all know that grass, you can sustain a goat on grass, but they can't thrive on it. Goats need to forage. And that's what they prefer to do. Especially, this is gonna sound weird, but would you believe that goats prefer to eat things above their head? Goats like to eat things above their head. I don't know why, but that is something that you can read about all over the place. It's just a goat thing. They like to eat things up above their head. So it's a little bit unusual. Look at Maggie sitting there by my Uncle Raleigh's memorial. It's cute how Pig Newton came out. There's not a whole lot for a pig to eat out here, but he did think he would come by just to make sure that everything is safe with the babies. I'll tell you what else is neat. Only having 9 goats to manage. Taking the other 6 over to Longhorn Lester's has been really good for them. Those goats over there are just thriving. I think the geese are kind of like, forget this, nothing special about this. We're going back in. Going back to the pond. There's no pond over here. We're going back. Yeah, there's not much left of that bush right there. I don't know what kind of tree that is. I think they call that a tarbor tree. Tarbor. It grows these really long beans. Hey, look, there's one over here. There's one over here, the same kind of tree. Now that was never much of a tree. That's more of a bush right there. But I think that was the beginning of one of these tarbor trees. And look at these beans they grow. I may have said that word wrong. It might not be a tarbor, but I think they call it tarbor. Ernie, in the meantime, has got himself stuck in the bushes. Ernie has got himself stuck in the bushes. Ernie, you big galoot. Don't forget you guys are fat, so if something comes out of these woods, y'all, I'm not gonna be able to run as fast as you did last year. You better hope that Maggie and Annie and Ernie and myself can keep you safe until you get your little fat butts back to the pasture.
Don't forget about me, Daddy.
Annie must have the itches. What in the world? What's Annie and Ernie doing? This is kind of funny. They're using these limbs to scratch their backs on. Ernie, I'd be happy to scratch it for you if you'd let me. We're not leaving yet. That's kind of funny. Maybe they're putting their scent around. That might be some kind of a thing they do to ward off other animals. That this ground is protected by Annie and Ernie. That's really interesting. I don't know if they're just scratching their backs or if they're just doing something else. Guys, that breathing is not me. Y'all know that that's Maggie who's breathing like that. Do not even think Lester's sitting there breathing out of his mouth. Now, I have been guilty of breathing out of my mouth a few times, but I think that over time I've gotten better with that. That's what goats like to do right there. That's a goat's heaven. When they can jump up on something, lean up on something and reach above their heads and eat. They love that stuff. There you go. Maggie is still trying to get that cat to get out of here. Maggie does not want any cats to go along on our on our mission. Maggie says no cats allowed on this mission. This is too dangerous for cats. So Ringo's gonna go ahead and show these guys the fastest way to get that tree out of here and just use his horns, showing off a little bit. He's gonna show off. Guess what? The geese did not leave. As a matter of fact, they're right here behind me. Where are you guys going? They just wanted to come keep everybody in line. Well, thank you. We're all in line, okay? We are all in line. So a lot of folks said that what we should do is just have Jake and Ben go to the woods every day, cut down some limbs, bring them back, and throw them over into the pasture. But the problem with that is if you end up bringing limbs up and throw them over into the pasture, at some point, once all those limbs have been nibbled on, you have to have someone come back by and pick up all of those limbs. Pile those limbs into a pile and burn them. And that person would end up being Lester. That person would end up being Lester. And so, most folks don't realize this, but Jake works here about 5 days a week, a couple of hours a day. And I've given Jake the duty of maintaining the grounds. Let's just say the grounds inside the pastures. So it's Jake's job to go by and patch up and repair gates, broken fences, dangling wire, mow inside the pastures, even though I've mowed the last couple of times. Jake's job is to maintain the actual pastures. Inside the pastures. Lester does all of my own yard. I do all of the work around the yard. Jake does mostly tractor work. He does work 5 days a week. But by having Jake have to leave every day and go gather up limbs, bring limbs back, drop limbs over, come back the next day, pick up the old limbs, pile the old limbs, burn the old limbs, you're going to be adding on several hours of work to Jake's day. And we don't pay Jake that kind of money. And guys, Jake doesn't work for free. For the number of people who think that Jake hangs out here all day and works here all day because he just loves it so much, sorry, but that's not the case. There we go. The geese are back where they belong. Ben, my nephew, he's doing a little part-time work as well. He comes a few days a week. And what he normally does is help gather up all of the packages and he sorts them. You have packages that come, some to I'm a Survivor, some come to Lester, some go to Jamie, some go to other members of the Morrow family. You don't have their address, so they send them all here. We have a place at the road where they drop off our packages, so Ben gathers everything up, brings them all up to the barn, and he sorts them. From there, we take time to open them, and then once they're sorted and opened, Ben will break down and recycle all of the boxes. He also sprays out or blows out the barns. So Ben pretty much does jobs, cleanup jobs, maintaining jobs that are outside of the pastures. Ben does not go inside with the animals. So the animals are slowly moving away from this lane. I would really hope they would have come down through this way because there's not a whole lot to do over here. All they're doing over here is eating on grasses, and that's not really what I wanted them to do. Because they can get grasses from anywhere. They can. Stuff looks to be poisonous to me. But they absolutely... Guys, over here! Shirley! Come on, babies! Over here! Come on, sissy! Bring the gang! Come on, babies! This is what you would want them to come to and eat up on. Just all kinds of stuff along this lane. There we go. This is what we wanted to see. Careful up there. And I will put them back in. Brady, you don't fit on there, you big galoot. Brady, get out the side-by-side, you big galoot. He's such a big galoot. I love him, but sheesh. Where are you guys going? What are y'all doing? Where are they all running off to, Annie? Did y'all spot something dangerous? Did y'all hear that? There's a dog barking in the distance. And there goes all of our babies back to the pasture, led by Annie and Ernie. Is that awesome or what? Can y'all hear the dog barking? Well, that makes my job a lot easier. I'll just go up and close the gate and I think that we're done. This is kind of cute, but this was their very first morning of getting out and about. And my friends, they are exhausted. That was exhausting work, having to go work for food. But that's what our lives are gonna be like for the next several weeks or months. You're going to work for food. All right.